Okay, welcome back and well done, because if you're at this tutorial you should have by now created these objects for your room. So your object wall and all of the objects for your fruit. When I double click into my object, whichever one it may be, it opens up the properties for this object window again, and each one should have the 3 events and the different actions for each of those events. So in my banana it will be create, start moving, object wall, when the banana hits the wall it will bounce against it in a random direction, and then when I use the left mouse button and I happen to click on the banana it will jump to a random position and also add 50 to my score. And you'll see that in all of my fruit. I'll just prove it to you there. Strawberry, it has exactly the same again. Okay, up to now all we've done is set up the objects and the sprites to go into the game. We haven't actually made the game itself, and that is the next step. Now the game takes place in what we call a room, okay, like bedroom or living room, okay, and it's in the room where we set up what you want the game to look like, using of course the sprites and the objects that you've created previously. So it's important that you have to create the sprites and the objects first before you create the room. So you can see my mouse is hovering, ready to go at the top of the screen. To the right of the object icon you can see the create room icon. It's actually a picture of a little window because the game runs within a window on your screen. The properties of the room looks a lot different to the 2 previous exercises. What I would say is it's a good idea to maximize that part so you can see all of the room. Now that grey shaded area with the grid lines over it is the current size of the room. We can go into the settings tab here and you can see that it's set to 640 pixels by 480. That is absolutely fine for this particular game. You may want to, or you will change that for your rooms when you create your own game, but for now, for the Catch the Fruit game, that's an absolutely fine resolution to keep. What I would say though is these grid lines are a little bit small. If you remember our sprites, they were 32 pixels by 32 pixels. At the moment this grid is set to snap at 16, which will not help when we come to put our objects in here. So what I'm going to do is change these 16 by 16 to 32 by 32, so our actual grid lines now are the size of our sprites. Okay. Now first object I'm going to add into the room is the wall. So you need to make sure you're back on the Objects tab there, and you can see the current object is a strawberry. Now if you just click away from the strawberry onto that window, you can change what object you currently want to add into the room. So I'm going to go to Wall and I'm going to add in the wall first. I just now click into the room where I would like the wall to go. Now I want the wall to go all the way around the outside of this room, or the window that appears to my players. It could take a long time if I have to click every single box individually, particularly if I was adding in even more walls to this room. Little shortcut would be to hold down the Shift key and then drag your mouse down and drag your mouse across. So I'm just keeping the Shift key down. Oops, I made a little bit of a mistake there. And then I finish up the wall around the outside of the room. If you do make a mistake like I have there, the mouse slips a little, it happens, just come back to it, hover the mouse over it and press the right mouse button to delete that object from your room. Okay, so pop the wall in around the outside for me now please. The next step will be to add in the fruit. So I'm just going to click back onto the objects window here on the left hand side, and I'm first of all going to add in 2 apples. I'm going to click back over here, I'm going to add in 2 bananas. Back over here I'm going to select my cherries, and then I'm going to select my strawberries and add in my strawberries. That is my game set up on how I would like it to look. However, I do not play it within this environment. I have to run it in its own executable environment, okay, so in a run mode environment, in order to see if all of this works. So does the create event work? Do these fruits start moving when the game loads. When I click on the mouse button on this fruit, do I get 50 points every time? Does it jump to a random position? Alright, so all of those things we need to test to see if it works. Now the button, in order for this to happen, or to make this happen, is the green arrow button in the top here in the toolbar. It says run the game. If I click on this now, it will take a few minutes to load up a game, like any game does. And here is my game running in that room, in that window. You can see that my create event is clearly working because the action of moving in all directions is taking place. You can also see that in the event of the fruit having a collision with the wall, they bounce off, okay, in another direction. Sometimes they bounce off horizontally, vertically, okay, diagonally. It's just random. The next thing I need to test is to actually, when I click on one of these pieces of fruit, I get a point. Now obviously now I'm in playing the game. Now I managed to catch an apple then, and you can see that my score has now gone to 50. If I test again, if I try and catch another piece of fruit now, I got quite a few in a row there. My score should go up by 50 every time, which it has, so I'm not very good at this, and I've got 300 points. Okay, so I've tested all of my objects, the events and the actions that I've put place, and I'm quite happy that they're all working now. Alright, so have a go please at creating your room, adding your wall, adding your fruit, and then pressing on that green play button to run your game. Once you're happy, just simply close down this run window by using the close cross, and it will take you back to your game maker environment.